For those of you approaching retirement, here we examine both the financial planning and income considerations for crafting a retirement portfolio that lasts. Hi, I'm Marcus Da Silva. I've been in the investment industry for 15 years, teaching DIY investors simple strategies that help them invest sensibly for a better future. There are lots of podcast conversations and tutorials on the Steps to Investing YouTube channel. Check them out. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for all of the latest. George Osborne, Chancellor at the time, introduced extraordinary changes to the pension system in 2015, giving us total freedom over what we do with our pots upon retirement. Now, while some of you will want to blow it all on that Hellraiser 223 fishing boat you've always wanted, most will be thinking about how to generate a sustainable level of income from your retirement savings. In this tutorial, we shall explore the financial planning and income aspects of this. None of this is financial advice though, as we don't know your personal financial circumstances, and actually at Steps we would say this is where some paid advice can be really worth it, especially given the tax implications of your decisions. Unbiased and vouched for are two sites where you can find a financial advisor. The other site to mention is the government's Money Helper website. Just one note of caution, fraudsters would love to get their hands on a big pot of cash such as your retirement savings. If you are moving your pension or deciding to do something with it, make sure you know the firm that you're dealing with. The regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority, have a register of authorised firms that manage your money. Easiest thing is to check that the firm you're dealing with is on it. And finally, before we get started, just a brief note on our sponsor, the Merchants Trust, managed by City veteran Allianz Global Investors. This investment trust mainly invests in the shares of large British companies and aims primarily to deliver a decent level of dividends as well as growth of your investment too. Please check out their website at merchantstrust.co.uk. Of course, this is not a recommendation, and investing comes with risk, which means the value of your investment can go down as well as up. Okay, on to our first section, financial planning for your retirement. Planning your finances for retirement needs a few considerations. First, your lifespan. Fairly obviously, it's impossible to know how long you'll live, but at the age of 65 in the UK, a man can expect to live another 19.7 years, a woman 22 years. Being conservative and planning for a long life is one way to ensure that you will have enough. Second consideration, the lifestyle you want in retirement. In our last tutorial, we discussed this a little bit, so please check it out. What's important to remember is that your income needs may change the further you get into retirement. Although you may have fewer outgoings on things like travelling, later on, you may need to pay for care. Third, think about the timing of when your different cash flows kick in. Private pensions such as SIPPs can be accessed from 55, rising to 57 in 2028. Workplace defined contribution and defined benefit pensions are most likely to be later, usually between 60 and 65, depending on the scheme rules. The state pension will kick in at 66, rising to 67 for those born after April 5th, 1960, and eventually 68 years of age. I won't focus too much on the state pension here, but it is often seen as a useful floor for regular monthly costs, with the full state pension in the tax year 24-25 paying out £11,502 per year. Our final planning consideration is understanding the tax implications of your different income streams. For example, in your drawdown portfolio, 25% is tax-free, whereas the remaining 75% is potentially liable for income tax. State pension is taxable, ISAs are not, and so on. Understanding your tax position will help you to be as tax efficient as possible and use tax-free allowances to your advantage. Fortunately, there are lots of drawdown calculators to help that can be easily found on Google. One thing to remember, once you access the taxable portion of your drawdown portfolio, it will trigger something called the Money Purchase Annual Allowance, which means the level of contributions that you are allowed to make to your pension that still attract tax relief permanently drops. from a potential maximum of £60,000 per year down to £10,000 per year. Okay, plenty of financial planning points to think about there. Let's move on to thinking about how you generate a sustainable income stream. There are two main options when it comes to deciding how you might generate an income stream in retirement. You could buy an annuity, which is a guaranteed income stream, or you could draw down your portfolio. Starting with annuities. These are purchased from insurance companies, and the rate you receive is dependent on things such as age, health, lifestyle factors, and current annuity rates. They can be for a fixed period of time or for life, and they can come with payments that remain the same or increase over time. What this does mean is that the income you receive can be much better if you buy them when you are older. Remember though, once bought, the decision cannot be reversed, which can make some people feel a bit nervous about buying annuities. Next, drawdown. This is all about flexibility and freedom, but it comes in lockstep with potential stock market risks and fewer certainties. So if you're very risk averse, this may not be the option for you. How you draw down your pot is a fruit that can be sliced many ways. You could sell small bits each year and pocket the cash. You could invest in income producing assets that pay a yield. Or you could cash in the whole thing and dip into the pile whenever you need. If you're selling bits, then trimming about 4% of the portfolio per year is often cited as a long-standing rule of thumb. However, this is based on the past performance of stock markets, and we have no idea how they will perform in the future. 4% could easily be too much in terms of the sustainability of your portfolio. Further issue is selling assets in down markets, as this can have an enormous impact on the portfolio's value down the line. For these reasons, financial advisors often discuss having a much larger cash pile than you would pre-retirement, something like 2 years of living costs rather than 3 to 6 months, so that you are able to leave your investments alone during nasty bear markets and just draw on the cash instead. The other option is to invest in income-producing assets, such as funds seeking dividend-paying companies or funds investing in government or company bonds, which will pay out a rate of interest known as a coupon. These can work well because income-producing assets tend to, but not always, have more stable values than growth assets. Regarding dividends, the UK stock market has actually quite a good reputation, as its companies tend to have robust governance and a strong dividend-paying culture. It means that whilst share price growth has historically been nothing to write home about, the dividend yields paid by British firms have been quite attractive relative to other markets. The downside to income from shares is that they're not always reliable, as dividends can be cut by companies if they so choose. For example, if there's an economic downturn and they want to conserve cash. This is where investment trusts can be particularly useful. They have a unique feature called a revenue reserve, which is a pot that the trust manager can stuff with some of the dividends paid out in the good years, so that in the bad years, if dividends are cut, they can top up the income paid out to the trust's investors. In addition to income-producing assets, you might also want to keep part of your portfolio in growth assets too, in order to keep its value powering upwards over time. Final point, cash. While selling the whole portfolio and moving into cash can feel like a lower risk option, don't forget the value of cash will be eroded by inflation over time, which is its own risk in itself. All told, there isn't a simple answer to crafting a sustainable income-producing portfolio, but as is often the case with investing, a mix and match approach can tick all the boxes. You could have costs covered by an annuity or the state pension. You could have a portion in a diverse spread of income-producing assets that pay for your lifestyle. You could have part of your portfolio in growth assets that increase its value. And all of this could be buffered by a nice pile of cash that keeps you sleeping at night. Whatever you choose, enjoy those golden years. For more in our approaching retirement campaign, visit the section in the Steps to Investing YouTube channel.